Bel Air, California, 1926. Manny Torres meets a truck driver set to help him transport an elephant to a party being thrown by studio executive Don Wallach. Despite being told he is transporting a horse, Manny bribes the driver to carry the elephant. As they go up a hill, the elephant's weight causes the truck to start rolling downwards. Manny and his partner try to push the truck back up, and the elephant violently defecates on Manny's partner. Manny is helped by a convoy to take the elephant to the party. It is extravagant and over the top, with many nude or topless women and a cavalcade of drugs. Jazz musician Sidney Palmer plays with his band, and cabaret singer Lady Faye Jew performs a sultry song for the crowd. Arriving at the party is veteran actor Jack Conrad, whose wife Ina demands a divorce after he keeps speaking to her in Italian and not taking her seriously. Jack hooks up with a waitress during the party. Manny also sees a young woman, Nellie Leroy, arrive as she crashes her car into a statue. Manny helps get her inside. He brings Nellie to a room with drugs, and they do coke together. Nellie talks about how she came from New Jersey and had aspirations for stardom, while Manny comes from Mexico and wants to leave his mark on the film industry. Manny quickly falls in love with Nellie. During the party, a young actress, Jane Thornton, overdoses on drugs while partying with an older man and giving him a golden shower. Manny's boss Bob Levine orders him and his co-worker to fix the problem. They set the elephant loose into the party, freaking out the other partygoers to sneak the unconscious Jane through the party unnoticed. A very high and intoxicated Nellie dances through the crowd and makes an impression. As the party dies, Nellie is invited to be part of a film set since Jane was supposed to have the role. Bob instructed Manny to take a passed-out Jack back to his house. Jack remains fine and requests for Manny to stick around with him. Later in the day, Jack goes to work on a Crusader epic film. Manny is brought to handle the extras who charge after him, until he grabs a gun and rides a horse to scare them off. The horses wreck all the cameras, and the director wants to get his closing shot before the sun sets. Manny drives to a camera shop and waits over an hour for the last available camera. With little time left, Manny steals an ambulance and makes it back to the set in time for the crew to get a sweeping shot of Jack kissing the leading lady. As this happens, Nellie shows up to the set and meets the director Ruth Adler, and her assistant director Max. 1927, Nellie's star begins to rise in Hollywood, with her work on the film continuing to outdo Constance, who is angry because it's her money going into the film. Nellie's father Robert arrives and attempts to capitalize off her newfound fame. Meanwhile, Jack helps Manny get assistance with work on films. Jack marries a Hungarian actress Olga Pudi, but she shoots him in the arm after learning he cheated on her. Manny goes to the theater and watches The Jazz Singer, one of the first talkie films. He calls Jack to let him know that things are about to change. 1928, Manny finds Nellie again after getting her away from crazed fans and photographers. Manny goes to another party where Jack arrives with his third wife Estelle. Sidney and his band are playing, while Faye is also a guest. Nellie arrives being carried by a football team and takes an opportunity to kiss Jack in front of Estelle. Faye takes a moment to perform a sensual dance with Nellie, ruined by a drunk partygoer pushing through them. When she goes to the bathroom to freshen up, Nellie overhears two men talking about how she has no talent and has a voice like a dying pig, which hurts her feelings. She then goes outside and sees her dad talking to another woman about fighting a snake. Nellie calls everyone out and asks if anyone wants to see Robert fight a snake, to which the crowd responds with a cheer. Jack, Nellie, Manny, Faye, Robert and other guests drive into the desert where Nellie encounters a rattlesnake and tells Robert to fight it. Robert gets himself into a fighting position, but he passes out. Nellie then opts to fight the snake herself, despite everyone else's warnings. Nellie grabs the snake, which bites her neck. After she frantically runs around and the others fail to help her, Faye grabs a knife and decapitates the snake before sucking the venom out of Nellie's neck. When Nellie regains consciousness, she passionately kisses Faye. Later on, Manny recommends Sidney for a job at Kinescope Studios. Bob is impressed with Manny's work and offers him an executive position. Still, he tells Manny that he needs to do something about Nellie, as her reputation is going downhill due to her constant partying and gambling, as well as her alleged relationship with Faye, which gets Faye fired since Hollywood is becoming more puritanical. Nellie overhears Manny's pitch to the higher-ups about fixing her reputation, setting her up with gossip journalist Eleanor St. John to fix her up. 1930, Hollywood has completely transitioned into talking films. Manny and Eleanor have worked hard trying to revamp Nellie's image. She is brought to a party with other snotty upper-class socialites and film people. She attempts to project a more posh and sophisticated image. However, Nellie can no longer pretend to hide her disdain for the other guests. She goes off on a profane tirade before pigging out on the food and storming out. Seconds later, she walks back in to projectile vomit on the rug in the face of the party's host. Manny is visited at his home by Nellie. She tells him that she owes $85 grand in gambling debts to a gangster, and if she doesn't pay up by the end of the week, they will pour acid onto her genitals. Manny initially refuses to help, but seeing how distraught Nellie is and remembering their time together and how much he cares about her, he decides to help. He goes to the Count, a longtime co-worker who pushed drugs on sets and is also an aspiring actor. Manny and the Count go to the home of the gangster, James McKay, with the bag of money in tow. When McKay goes to fetch drinks, the Count reveals that the bag is filled with prop money, which makes Manny extremely nervous. McKay invites the two, along with his thug Wilson, to an underground location where depraved sex acts occur. McKay guides them to see their main attraction, a brutish man who eats live rats. When McKay starts throwing the prop money at the man, he finds a drop of water on it and realizes it's fake. Manny grabs a mace and jams it into Wilson's neck, and the other men chase after them. He gets Nellie and urges her to join him in the running away to Mexico. Together with the Count, they pack their bags and go to find gas. As Manny begins pumping, Nellie walks into a party and starts dancing. When Manny stresses that they need to go soon, Nellie breaks down over all the trouble she has put Manny through, especially as he tells her how much he loves her. They agree to marry in Mexico and start a new life. A nearby photographer records Manny and Nellie dancing as they share their first kiss. Jack is at a party with his newest girlfriend. He runs into Faye one last time as she tells him she is heading to Europe to work for Pathé Studios. They say goodbye, and Faye looks back at Jack sadly. Jack then quietly walks up to his hotel room and grabs a gun, shooting himself in the head. Manny goes to the Count's apartment to get the last of their things, leaving Nellie in the car to wait for him. Still, she feels no good for Manny and dreamily dances into the darkness. One of McKay's thugs shows up and kills the Count and his roommate. Manny begs for his life, even wetting himself, but the thug orders Manny to leave Los Angeles. He hops in his car and books it. A brief montage shows people attending Jack's funeral, along with newspaper articles announcing Eleanor's death at 76 and Nellie being found dead in her hotel room at 34. 1952, Manny returns to Los Angeles with his wife and daughter. He stops at Kinescope Studios and talks to a security guard, stating that he has a successful business in New York. While the wife and daughter return to their hotel, Manny goes to the movies to watch Singin' in the Rain, which brings him to tears as he misses her. Another montage shows the evolution of cinema, from the silent era through the 20th century movies like Terminator, Matrix and Avatar. Realizing that he has achieved his dream of leaving his mark on the industry, Manny smiles through his tears.